Hello and welcome to my video on how to care for your koi fry. In today's video, I'll be going over how to remedy common mistakes made by new hobbyists getting into the hobby of caring for koi fry, and how to effectively care for the koi fry that you've recently purchased or are looking to purchase. Make sure to watch the entirety of this video so you don't miss out. The first common mistake a lot of people make is underestimating the size you need to care for these koi fry. A lot of people think you can use such a small area, and they underestimate the fact that these koi are going to need a lot more space than just, say, a 20-gallon tank or a 50-gallon net. You're really going to need, I don't recommend anything under 1,000 gallons. So you really want to keep in mind that you need a large tub and you can't just use a smaller tub. A prime example of this are nets like these that you use to float in the water. I have used these in the past, and I'd like to say these are not very effective. They only are effective for the first few weeks for the fry, but once they start to grow, you cannot really use these effectively, as they're too small. The second common mistake, which I actually made myself, was putting your koi fry in a net like I showed you previously in your main pond. The main issue here is that the bigger fish are much more resistant to slight changes in ammonia and nitrate, whereas the smaller fry are not. So in your big pond, it's much more common for that to happen if you have larger fish, which can quite easily kill off all your koi fry. This actually happened to me with about 100 Cuttlebrook koi farm fry, and I learnt from there that you should not really be putting your koi fry in with your larger fish until they get to around 4 inches long, so that they'll be able to resist the ammonia and nitrate. Now I'm going to be talking about how I care for my fry, and this is also how you should be effectively caring for yours. As you can see here, this is the sort of size tub you want. This is about a 3,000 gallon tub, and as you can see, the fish are quite happy in here, and that's always a good sign. Even though the water is about 10 degrees in here at the moment, you can see how friendly these fish are, and this is also a good sign that they're nice and healthy. One thing I will recommend is that you want to make sure they have good sufficient space. You can sort of see with the size of this tub that they need this kind of space to fully grow to their full potential, especially if we're looking to sell these on, like I am, which I will be doing soon once I've grown them out. It's about 4 foot high, as you can see there, and it's got a 7 foot diameter, as you can see by how wide the tub is. Here's the filter I use. Now the key thing is you want a nice large filter that's going to be pumping through a lot. The pump is down there, it pumps a lot of water through at a time. Down below, another key thing is a UV to make sure the water is nice and clear and cutting off any bacteria in the tub. Then the filter I have here itself is about a quarter of the size of the actual tub itself. I have brushes, foam, and then I have an active base sort of there just for bacteria to keep the tub nice and clean. Now you want to make sure you're cleaning your filter about every other week or every week, depending on how much dirt your koi produce, and you also want to be conducting a water change at least 2 times a week, as they produce a lot of dirt. As you can see, there's some small bits of plastic there. That's just for active bacteria, and just the air pump to keep it nice and oxygenated, as you can see through there. When it actually comes to growing your fry, you want to have a good temperature in the tub. I have this in a polytunnel, so it stays at a stable temperature. Currently, even though it's 5 degrees outside, it's 10 degrees, 13 degrees in the tub. Now this is ideal, although to really grow on the fish, you want it to be about 23 degrees. These koi have grown at least an inch since I last had them in August, and that is just due to the fact that it was quite cold around where I was quite quickly, and the water stayed about 10 degrees throughout winter, which is quite good, and that's why I keep it in a ponytail. You can buy pond heaters, but the ideal thing is you want to keep these warm. You do not want the pond to ice over if you have to keep it outside, but I'm quite fortunate to keep these fish inside a polytunnel where it's nice and warm. These fish have been growing quite quickly. There's a few in here, as you might see in a second, that I put inside my aquarium, like those 2 down there. And in about a month, they grew about 2 inches. A lovely Kujaku and Benikiko Kuryu in there. And there is a few, those are the sort of few I want to keep. And you really want to make sure it's nice and warm, at least above 10 degrees. For as long as you really can. If it's through winter, I can sort of understand when it's getting to minus temperatures, it's really hard to keep it nice and warm, but try your best to keep the heat up. The main reason you want to keep it nice and warm is so they're going to be eating a lot. Here I have the food I feed them. It's 1.2 to 1.5 Cuttlebrook koi farm food. This is quite an expensive, it's quite expensive to feed the fish, obviously, because they're going to be eating quite a lot, so you have to go through quite a few tubs. But if you do it correctly and you work out how much you should be feeding them, for example, I know I need to be feeding them about 8 scoops a day, depending on the temperature. It's really just a matter of how much they eat it in a few minutes. But yeah, it's a slightly expensive ordeal. I'm quite fortunate to live near Cuttlebrook Koi Farm, so I don't have to pay for delivery. I can just drive up there and purchase the food. But as you can see, the fish really enjoy eating, which is a good sign as they're nice and healthy. I haven't had any issues recently. None of them have been dying. So that's really fortunate considering the last time I had them, I had quite a few casualties, and that was just due to my stupidity of placing them in the main pond. Here you can get a good side view of the fish. As you can see, they're nice, strong-bodied fish. There's very few ones without a strong posture. You can see they're nice and wide, nice long, nice fins. There's not very many deformities, and that's really, really lucky to see. And I really enjoy seeing all that in them. You should always take into consideration the amount of fish you're also going to purchase. I purchased around 500, but if you have a slightly smaller tub, you might want to purchase 125. You can always expect there's going to be high casualties depending on your water quality, and that is really beneficial that you really take into consideration you have good water, also good aeration. But really, yeah, it's some really good fun. I really enjoy having these fish. If you have the space, if you have the time, I really recommend you buy some, because it is such a joy to watch them develop and grow, and it really does give you a sense of satisfaction when you come around to eventually selling them. If you want to sell them, that is. I will eventually be selling these, so when I come around to that, I will tell you on the channel. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.